My name is Richard Bromwich. I go by the name of John. I'm married to a very lovely lady called Kay, and we live here in the Shoalhaven, which we love. It was a Saturday morning, the sun's shining beautifully, and I decided it was time to clean the windows. So what I did was I cleaned the perspex on the garage, which left a lot of soap and water on the ground. Got up on the roof, first floor level of the house, which I suppose is about 10 feet. And I cleaned the window and I decided it was time to come down. I put 1 foot on the ladder and I still had 1 foot on the roof. As I got my weight transferred more to the ladder started to slip. I started to slip with the ladder started slipping further and I started slipping further with nowhere to go but to hit the ground with a thud. When I hit the ground with a thud, it hurt. And I'm very lucky that I'm not in a wheelchair today to have to tell this story, but I'm sitting on a chair and recovering very slowly.
So Richard had some serious injuries from this fall, but it could have been a lot worse. So 70% of ladder falls result in a head injury, and potentially that can result in a slow bleed, which can lead to death or permanent disability. He also could have broken his neck. He could have fractured his ribs, which is something that tends to hold people up for a very long time in intensive care and beyond.
I did not realise what I'd done until the doctors come around and said that you have cracked 3 vertebrae, fractured thumb, 2 very bruised ankles. I had a split across my shin. I've got a very bad shoulder. I still can't lift my arm up any further than past my shoulder.
So I looked after Richard. Look, it seemed like such a simple fall. He fell from a low height, but the consequences were really serious. Luckily, his spinal cord was not affected, otherwise he could have ended up in a wheelchair. But he had to have an operation. He was in the hospital for a number of days and then spent a long time in rehab. The outcome has been that he has had to give up his job. He used to work for the postal service, he used to enjoy getting out and about and talking to people, and he can't do that anymore. So yeah, I think this has had a really profound impact on Richard.
Well, how do I put it? It's affected me because I haven't been able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Like I've got a small garden down the back which I love playing around in, but I can't turn the ground over because I can't lift dirt sort of thing. I've also got a great deal of orchids along my fence line that I like to fuss and cluck with, and I just can't pick up a watering can and water them continually because you've lifted up over 5 kilos to do it. I've got a bird aviary there with half a dozen birds in. Well, I couldn't bend into the bird aviary to do that, so it sort of stopped me from doing a lot of things that I enjoyed doing.
Look, we tend to focus on the patient that's on the bed, but we're also aware there are people around that bedside too. So the partners, the children, the grandchildren find it quite upsetting to see their loved one in a hospital bed for days on end.
The point is, think of your family when you get on that ladder first and foremost. If you injure yourself and you end up in a wheelchair or worse, they're the ones that are going to suffer long term.
Unfortunately, Richard's story is all too common, and there are lots of Richards out there. I'd implore people to listen to his story, follow the safety tips, and please take care when you're using a ladder.
You know that old saying, she'll be all right, mate? No, it won't be all right, mate. If you don't anchor that bloody ladder down properly, if you don't have somebody next to you on that small ladder, if you do something silly, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble. Take my advice, have somebody around near you, and then it will be all right, mate. And if you're not going to look after yourself and do some of the things I've suggested, think of your family, think of your wife, think of your children. They don't want to see you in a wheelchair, and I'm quite sure you don't want to be in a wheelchair either.